what we are trying to do with the Anderson Center with our economic justice work, with which the things that my fellow cohorts, are trying to do from an economic justice perspective, is what was accomplished with the Greenwood community in Tulsa, to be economically self-sufficient, to essentially control black wealth and keep it within black communities and build generational wealth in the black community. And so to see that being accomplished, and yet at that time, for it to essentially be ameliorated, due to greed and ultimately racial violence, it was very powerful.
The goal was always to bring the community together, because even if folk had been to Tulsa before, the museum was new, so they had likely not experienced that, and so that's why it was Tulsa. And so when we invited folk, like, oh, we're going to meet in Tulsa, everyone was like, Tulsa, but it sounds cool. And then at the convening, folk were just really not just moved, but kind of just drew real connections between their work and the history of structural racism.
One, being in the city and the history of the city, and then what Elevate is trying to do was incredible in itself. I think Black Wall Street, and then you think about, it's really a succession plan. Like, we have to invest in Black organizing. We have to invest in frontline people that are on the ground, that are going to be doing the work regardless.
Kimberly Brown at the Gates Foundation reached out to Frontline, and we started having conversations, and she talked about how the foundation in her economic mobility work wanted to engage and support and be more proximate to BIPOC leaders in economic mobility.
I'm Julian D. Miller. I'm the founding executive director of the Reuben V. Anderson Center for Justice, located on the campus of historic Tougaloo College in Jackson, Mississippi.
I'm Keith Davis, often referred to as Pastor Davis, because in the city that we're located, I've been a pastor there so long, so everyone refers to me as Pastor Davis, and I am the president and CEO of the Camden Dream Center.
Peace, my name is Mukaji. I am the founder and lead organizer of Black Land Ownership Council. We call it BLOC. And I'm a farmer, and I'm from Boston.
Gates' framework around economic mobility, was the backdrop around we want folk doing this work. So when we put the RFP out, it was really with some intention around having the field define for us what it is.
I've always been kind of like a movement organizer, so I always do it. So I just immediately kind of started reaching out to all the Black farmers, urban farmers that are looking to do rural farming too, in Boston, and we're growing our collective now.
We've been engaging with our community across many different landscapes and disciplines, whether it's feeding people or empowering people in education.
So with the work we do at the Anderson Center with our two-legged growth initiative, a food justice project, which is focusing on developing a worker-owned cooperative that's both student, adult, and community-led, for the purposes of addressing both food inequities in the food justice system, as well as addressing poverty and economic justice, to having a BIPOC-led, community-based farm.
And so part of our working with organizations, we chose the organizations, through a whole process, et cetera. These are the organizations we want to invest in. That's number one. And then two, working with them to get to yes.
A lot of organizations that do this work talk about, we put the community as the leader, we follow the communities and we base on them, we're not gonna be paternalistic. They talk that talk, but what I loved about Frontline Solutions was it actually walked the walk.
The Elevate initiative has been enormously helpful to the Camden Dream Center. It's an ecosystem that is rich, and I've never seen an ecosystem so rich in the space of social justice.
It's actually been really incredible. Like, the frontline staff is just brilliant, you know what I mean? They're liberation minded, so I believe in liberation, and so that's a really big piece. I don't deal with anti-Blackness in any way, and so to be able to be surrounded by Black people that are working within this space has been huge.
Part of what we said to organizations, that we said to Gates, is we want to help leverage more resources for these organizations.
And so what Elevate has been effective in just I think 6 months I've been working with the organization. They've leveraged over $50,000 already in developing and building up our food systems. We've been able to, that helped us do major end of year food distribution in Jackson, which was hugely successful. It helped us build and expand our high tunnel production.
We were selected by our local food bank there in South Jersey to partner on a significant grant opportunity, all within 30 days because a call came in from a consultant from Frontline Solutions as part of being part of the Elevate initiatives.
All these different spaces that I wouldn't necessarily have access to, and I wouldn't think about reaching out and understanding that that would build my platform. I think it's just been really huge. And again, the trust is there because it's people that look like me and come from, where I come from. So it's been great.
We wanted to treat a community of practice for the grantees as an experiment, if you will, not because communities of practice are new, but because oftentimes communities of practice are rooted in an assumption or an assertion by funders that these groups need to come together. And I think being in community is a good thing. Being summoned to community means it makes it more about a transaction than it actually being in community.
It was a great experience sort of to network with individuals doing this great work, to meet the people. I get to see Colin, the others, who see them in 3D. The great people who I've had all these Zoom calls with and who've been hugely supportive, to finally get to meet them and thank them in person for what they've done. And then, like I said, working with the other organizers who do similar work and figuring out how we can bring synergy. So it was really inspiring and motivating.
What I love about this organization is that you bring people together for whether it's on a call, or in person, where you have the opportunity to exchange ideas.
It was just so humane, you know what I mean? And we're just, the way that we're connecting, because all of us do so much and we're very overwhelmed and we have a lot of pressure on us. And we were able to come together and see each other, beyond just the pressure, beyond just the work, but as human beings that want to see our worlds transform.